All right, welcome to the weekly analysis or the weekly meeting. Today is 23rd of August, and I kind of wanted to um I think most people on here are aware of the post, the analysis, like the weekly analysis that each sends out. And I kind of wanted to go over because one, I don't want what she posts every week to be in vain, right? And for those who may be a little newer to the group, just to show them how, if they're not sure of what to trade or how to trade it, then they can look at Isha's post and somewhat kind of analyze what she has put out. Because I know that, you know, um, we used to faithfully go by the the weekly order blocks. So, depending on unless you already have something that you're trading, then that's perfectly fine. So, with that being said, the first thing that's on Isha's list is let me go to here is AUD Chef. AUD Chef. And she's basing it off the weekly analysis. And okay, that one's not a so for this she put this one as a bearish order block, right? Now, with that being said, we can see that um this is providing a very strong level of support. So now if this bearish candle, weekly candle had closed below these lows, I would definitely say we're looking for sells. And I'm basing that just because of structure. Like if price pulled up here and then closed below, then I would be looking for the pullback to continue selling. However, price was bearish for the week, but it could possibly just be a liquidity grab. Put back on them. It could just be a liquidity grab to then start buying up to the top. So let's go down to the daily. So based on the daily, and we're looking at market structure, we had this last break of structure here, and then we had this what looks like a change of internal change of character here. So price pulled back again, has swept this low. So I would be looking for some kind of structure to form from this zone, meaning some form of structure to be forming from this zone to buy up at least to these highs. Now, how many pips is that from here to here? About 95 to 100 pips. So, um, let me find a better one because that I wouldn't, if I was to say, if I was to be looking at this, I would not trade that. But NZD CAD, let's see, weekly. Oh, weekly. That's the same thing, almost. Okay, let's just put it this way. Previous week, it closed below previous week. So maybe price will come back and continue selling. Let's go to the daily. Okay, this is more like it. All right, so let's go back. So previous week was last week was a bearish candle. It closed below previous week low. So once I go to the daily, I can see a little more structure, which is here, here, and here. So I would definitely be looking for a pullback for a continuation of a sell. This is the swing high, daily swing high, swing low. This is your breakup structure. So I would be looking for price to pull back into somewhere in this zone to then start selling. So using what each puts out, you can definitely find at least a trade for the week based off her analysis. And if you're trading 2 week order blocks, she posted NZD Chef. There is a bearish order block. So if I go down to the weekly, um, you could probably get a pullback maybe to this low, a pullback and then a sell to this low. I I don't, let's just say because it is in between this swing low, right? So price may not come and grab this low, or price may start shifting structure to the top side. But for this one here, I can see a pullback to then maybe take out this low and then start buying up. But that definitely looks like a trade worth trading if you're trading NZD Chef. And this could probably come and take here and then come back up here. So someone asked about the analysis that she posed, so that's why I'm making this video, um, or making this or discussing this analysis based on the 4 hour. This would be my zone here because this is the swing high. So any questions on the analysis that Ish has posted? Any other questions I should ask? Okay. Then, so she posted a 2 week NZD USD 2 week. As we can see, price swept this low and has given bullish momentum up to the top side. Um, I can see that price is pulled back into this demand zone. So now if I go to the weekly, let's go to the daily. So currently based on the daily, price is bearish based on market structure. Here's the bearish move here. You have your breakup structure. And then you have your supply zone here. There's also one here, but there's also one here. So I can see price pulling back into this zone here to continue selling to the downside. And that is all that she posted um, for the week, the 2 week and the weekly order blocks. Any questions on any of those? Okay, I don't know who TI Pad is, but um good, 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 good. All right, now, any questions on anything else anybody want to look at?
Gold did well.
Who said gold?
I said gold.
Is that Delaney? Oh,
No.
Michael, that's Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I tell you to leave gold alone?
No, no, I said it did well. People were excited on Friday.
It did well for now, but I think it's about to drop like a hot potato on next week. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
So go. Um, so okay, maybe not next week, but um, so it's probably gonna bop a little more. So based on gold, let's go to the weekly. Um, we had a weekly bearish order block, right? So price is currently pulling back into that order block. I think it will likely come back up here into the wicks of that order block. I believe there was a um 4 hour or maybe a 1 hour supply zone, or maybe not. So let's go back to the weekly. Weekly, we had this bearish order block. But on the daily, we currently have this bullish order block. So um I can see price pulling back, whether it pulls back to the actual order block or not, or maybe it'll leave a fair value gap. But I do see a pullback to continue buying for the moment. So on the 4 hour, um, I had this marked up a little different on my other chart. Um, so yeah, so I think it's probably going to pull back to either retest this um high here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't think it's going to pull all the way back to the um, demand zone, but I do think it's going to pull back to retest. This was the break, and then a retest of this high to then start pushing back. And the reason why I'm saying not here because I think it's going to be bearish, so um, it can come back, and take care of that on the way down.
Okay.
So that's why I think it is going to sell.
Do you think it's gonna hit the highest high before it sells,
You
or no, or just your demands on here?
you mean up here?
No, oh no, not there. Oh, sorry, the next one.
Right here?
Yeah, there.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to follow that trend line.
Yeah.
If you zoom this chart out and maybe go up to like the daily time frame, or maybe not. All it's doing is creating a flag, and it's going to go higher. So it's going to likely kind of move back and forth, consolidate inside of that flag until you get to that pennant, and then it's probably going to break out and go higher.
Yeah.
So that's my guess. I mean, obviously we'll have
Is
to see
this,
what happens, but that's what I think happens.
Will asked me last week, is this a bullish flag or a bearish flag?
It's a bullish flag.
No. Heck if
It,
I know.
well, here's why I would say it's a bullish flag. Okay. Gold is I like to think of it as a real-time financial conditions monitor, or flag for better, something that's going to give you an insight of real-time financial conditions. We all know gold is a hedge against monetary inflation. So if the dollar's down, gold should be up.
Mhm.
So if you look at what's going on in the macro, every week I get on here and I make some reference about the big, beautiful bill. And it's not because I didn't vote for Trump. It's because it's inflationary. We have tariffs that are inflationary. So gold is telling us, and has been, that all of that stuff is inflationary. So if gold is going up, that must mean the dollar is going down. So if you look at the Dixie, it has come down tremendously. If you look at gold, it has gone up tremendously. Uh, the stuff in the big, beautiful bill has not come to fruition yet. There's something in there that talks about giving every newborn between 2025 and 2028, $1,000, I guess, to their family for some sort of retirement account, or I don't know what it's for, but all these new babies and families are going to get $1,000. Where's that money coming from? It's going to be printed. So that's why gold is going up, because it's inflationary. There's something else in that big, beautiful bill that talks about giving tech companies that reshore their supply lines to the United States, because they don't want China to have access to the chips, or whatever's going on with that. So where's that money coming from? There's not a vault at Fort Knox or any other place with billions and billions of dollars in it to hand these people money. So they're going to print it. That's inflationary. So gold has been telling us that really ever since we were going into the last election, when gold was going up and none of us really knew why it was going up. That's why it was going up, because gold anticipated that Trump was going to win. Trump was talking tariffs. And plus, even if you go back to Biden's uh, administration, he had something called the CHIPS Act, which is handing a lot of tech companies a lot of money. I don't know exactly what the reasons were, but it said, hey, tech companies, we're going to hand you billions of dollars to do X. Again, there's no vault that their savings account that they're taking this money out. They're printing it. So if they're printing it, that's debasing your dollar. And gold is an inflation hedge. So if the dollar is going to fall, with an anchor tied to it, gold is going to go up like a hot air balloon. And that's what's been going on. That's why Bitcoin has gone up, and crypto, and all of the tech, really all of the stock markets. The stock markets, Bitcoin, gold, any real asset, it increases in value because the dollar buys a little less over time. It's why I keep telling everybody, you have to be in assets. If you sit in the bullshit, or if you're not a good trader and you piss your money away, trading and losing and trading and losing, you look up, 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, and you've gone nowhere. Maybe you've even lost, and all these assets are sky high. And you look back and you say, shit, what I should have done was taken at least a quarter of my money, put it in this asset, and pissed away the other part trading, but people have to come to those conclusions on their own. I'm just an annoying voice on this call every Saturday, probably pissing people off. But anyway, going back to the original point, I think that that flag, that pennant that's forming is just a base to go to the next higher level. And it's because the fundamental, the macro is telling us that it's going to go higher. You know, Jerome Powell just didn't they just meet in Jackson Hole yesterday? And he pretty much said, hey guys, I'm going to cut rates. If he's going to cut rates, the dollar will get even weaker. Assets should move higher. So that's what that pennant is telling everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think that.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree. And although I say it's probably going to come down here and sell, but it's probably going to sell to then the sell would be a pullback to then break out. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because this bearish order block, although it broke the previous week low, it's not breaking any other lows.
Right,
So,
right.
but the reason I said don't trade it, or I mean, you can trade what you want to trade, but it's because it's going to ping pong in here until it is squeezed to push out to the top side. So yeah. So even on the daily, on the weekly, there's a bearish order block. On the daily, there's a bearish order block. So I can see it, like I said, buying up to here. And maybe it don't pull back. Maybe it will buy up to here to then pull back to then take off. But this would be my if it doesn't pull back to this order block and it comes up here first, then I would probably be inclined to set a limit here for the buy out of there. Just FYI. Just an FYI. But for me, I would really only take it to these highs because I want to see it pull back here. As you can see, this is where I want to see it come back to. All right, so that's gold. Somebody said something else.
GU.
GU. Um, GU. So looking at GU, um, I personally think price is pushing back up to this zone. Depending on how you mark up or how you marked up your market structure shift, right? Mine was here, and I think if you were trading like Todd, his was at the his was well, wait a minute. He didn't look at it on there. He looked at it on the daily, I think. So his was here.
GU was a 6 month move, Kim, with
Oh,
top.
oh. Okay. Um, 6 month, it has tapped into the bullish order block. So it's buying to me. It's a bullish order block. Da, 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 da. It already pulled back the more than 100 pips that Ty looks for. Pulled back about 563 pips. So I definitely think it's going to. Oh, you still got 4 whole months in this candle. Um, why do you look at a 6 month? You have 4 months left in the candle. I'm confused. But this is going to be bullish. It's bullish. So I personally think that price is going to push up to this. This is a monthly order block. Um, yeah, I don't see how I don't know how y'all work the 6 month can't. I don't understand that one, but um so price is either I think price is going to push up to here and then maybe pull back some more based on structure, based on market structure, right? So this is the last level of structure on the monthly. And then on the weekly, the internal structure, you have this push up, this pull back, this push up, this pull back, this push up, this pull back, and then this push up. So we had a market structure shift. So I am expecting price to pull back up to this zone to then possibly sell to um one of the discounted areas. So it's going to be pull back to somewhere in here, somewhere in one of these zones. Now, the reason why I can't put my finger on it is because all the um, order blocks have been mitigated, right? So I just need to see it pull back to one of these zones. Maybe on the daily, it gives me a clearer demand zone. So you have one here. Let me just, you have one here. Hold on now. Let me delete all this crap. So you have a demand zone here, a daily demand zone, and then you have one here, and then you have one here. So these all align with a discounted Fibonacci percentage. So, of course, I want it to come back to the 78, but maybe it won't. Or maybe it'll come here, pull back, and then I don't know. All I just know is I would be looking for to sell this move at least back down to your 50%. So, with that being said, and then once price gets here, then you can start identifying structure to see or identify what is probably going to happen next. But
Question, Kim. Oh, sorry.
yes, go ahead.
So right now, where you have price in your current supply zone,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't consider that a retest for the original
It could, but
move?
this impulsive daily move,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it gave a, so we have a bear shorter block and then this bullish shorter block, but we have this impulsive move.
Mm-hmm.
So price could just pull back to the order block and then keep buying.
Mm, okay. See, I had my limit there and I got triggered Friday. So now I'm in
For
a
the
sell.
sell.
Yeah,
And it's probably,
exactly.
you're probably going to get a sell down to the order
Because
block.
when you drop down to like at least the 1 hour, there's a lot of wick
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah,
like,
right here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it came into this little spot
Yeah.
here. Now, it did give a lot of wicks, but what I don't see is some form of structure. Not even on, let's see, on the 15 minute. Um, and see, this is why I don't trade imbalances, right? Because you have an imbalance, like you have all these imbalances. So is price just going to come into this imbalance and then push up some more? You have liquidity here, these equal highs up here. Um, is it going to push up to this? Maybe it'll push up to this. Um, Now, if price pulls back into this zone and then gives some kind of structure, but I don't even see. Hold on, let me go to the 1 hour. Yeah, I kind of think price is going to push up just a little bit more.
So, like, if you had your limit there and you got tapped in, you would close it based on, or would you wait for it to hit stop loss?
Um, I wouldn't close it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't close it because
You wouldn't. I'm
I would
sorry.
not close it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think price is going to come up here and then shift and then push back down.
Okay. Got you. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I will say this. I will say this. Price did give us a daily market structure shift and or let me say it swept this. Okay, it swept it. Okay. So, it swept this. I was thinking price was going to come back in here and then take off for the buy. But because let me go on the 4 hour because that's what where I would be looking. Because it closed below on the 4 hour, like I still think, and this is why I'm thinking it's going to come up here based on the 4 hour before selling back down. Now, is it going to sell below these lows? Maybe, maybe not. But this is where I think the pullback for this impulse move to mitigate this impulse move will start to happen from here. You have this is even looking at here, you have your liquidity here. So that is why I think it's going to push back into here and then pull back and then give us some kind of move, whether it's going to keep straight selling or that's why I say I wouldn't sell it. I mean, because it is, I mean, I wouldn't close it because currently it is 20 something pips away. Let's see from the top, maybe 30. But this is where I think it would start giving us the pullback. Um, yeah. But I just don't know if it's going to sell below these lows now or if it's going to continue back up to this daily zone up here. This daily supply.
Yeah, my current CP is the demand on the 1 hour. So from where it made the impulsive move.
Right here.
Yeah.
Hmm. Um, what is this? GU. So I would definitely like set alerts at these zones
Hmm.
because if price is going to sell now, once price comes up here, I'm expecting price to sell down to the at least this low, or let me go to my daily because we had the market structure shift here, right?
Hmm.
So I'm expecting price to pull back to this supply zone to then sell either here or you can hold it to the 50%. Because once it comes here, then we know we're going to get some kind of pullback to possibly sell some more. to one of these demand zones.
Gotcha.
So yeah, this is what I would be looking for. That would be my first TP. Or if you just want to take it to the low, that's still 559 pips. But again, I wasn't expecting price to even sweep this or break this 4-hour low. So I have to trade what the market gives me. Again, I can see the pullback from here. I can even see it coming back to here. Yeah. I can see that. But I have these alerts set. So once price gets here, then I can look at the structure to see what it's giving me to determine if I'm going to keep selling or if there's going to be a shift to start buying. So that's what I see for GU. Any other questions?
Hey Kim, did y'all go over EJ and UJ? I'm sorry, I was really late. I just realized what time it was.
Nope.
If
EJ.
you did, you don't have to because I just watched the replay.
Nope, we haven't gone over. EJ, you saying EJ and EJ. Let me do EJ first. Um, let's go to the weekly. Based on the weekly, price pulled back. Oops. Price pulled back. I think EJ is gonna buy some more. Let's go to the daily. I think EJ is, we have a daily bullish order block that price tapped into. So you may get some more bullish. Let's go to the 4-hour. So this is structure. So you have this break here. You have this swing low, this swing high. So I don't see price. I would see price taking out this high first before taking out the low. Everything else is in between. Um, so this could possibly sell back down to this zone to then start buying back up. I think I marked this up on the last call we had for price to buy back up to this supply zone and then possibly sell. This is the market structure shift here. So I would be looking for price to pull back up into this zone if I'm going to be looking for a sell. And let me look at the bigger picture overall. Okay, so we had price to break above this high. It pulled into structure. So yeah, I would be looking for it to to come up to this, at least to this high, before we look for the sell. I mean, because it's still bullish. It pulled back into this bullish structure, probably the 88 of that structure. And I can just fib it just for, yep, into the 88. So then we had this bullish month, this bullish month, this bullish month. And this is where I had this the first time. Broke above this previous month, closed above the previous month, pulled back to it, and I think it's going to continue going bullish. Of course, you may get some pullbacks, but yeah, you might get, like I said, a pullback into this zone to keep buying. So this will probably be this week will probably be a bullish order block, maybe. Or if it's going to consolidate, then it's going to consolidate in between this week's high and this week's low. So, so yeah. And then let's go down to the daily. You had a break above this daily high, daily bullish order block. It pulled back and then brought up. So I don't even know if it's going to pull back to here. It could. Let's go to the 4-hour. Yeah, maybe it'll pull back down into this zone. And then push to the upside. Yeah, I think it's looking bullish to me still. But if it's going to sell, I would say it's probably going to sell at least into this zone here, about 50 pips. And of course, if it breaks this low, then you can look for more sells to the downside. But right now, it broke this high, consolidating. So I'm expecting to go up a little more. And what was the other one? EJ and
Thanks, UJ.
UJ. Let's go to the weekly. UJ. Let's just put that demand zone there. It wicked. Looked like it could be pulling back. Then on the daily. So you could be getting a pullback for the daily back into this zone. To then possibly, hold on, let me look at the daily. Let's look at market structure. So you had this push and then this push. So based on structure, you're still in a bullish structure. But overall, I think on a weekly, if I remember correctly, this was the swing high, this was the swing low, higher time frame, and this was the breakup structure. So everything in between is in the middle. So price has not broken above this high. It pulled into this supply zone and started selling. It's below this key level. So yeah, so I would be expecting price to at least sell down to this demand zone. And then what happens after that? I don't know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, once price gets to this, then you can determine whether it's going to shift structure to continue buying or um, if it's going to break these lows and continue selling to this low based off of this weekly structure. And maybe it'll sell back down to here. So that's what I see. Let me go to the 4-hour. So the last structure, internal structure, you had a shift on the 4-hour. I don't know if price is going to pull back up into here, but you had a 4-hour bullish candle that closed the bullish candle. So this could give us the next 4-hour. It could consolidate or it could just give a 4-hour bearish order block to give some form of structure because you're going to need to see the structure before. So maybe it'll break and then break above to then buy back up to then sell back down. But some form of structure needs to form. Let's go 1 hour. Let's try the 15-minute. Yeah, I would need to see some form of structure, which means price would need to close below this low and then shift structure or pull back to buy back up. How far back up? If you're looking to buy back into a 50% zone, then 50%, maybe even 618, maybe even 78. I don't know. But somewhere into the premium zone to then continue selling. It's a lot of consolidation. It's a lot of playing in the middle. In the middle.
Yeah, I was trying to just wait for the sale. Just wait for it. Instead of trying to buying it up and selling it down.
Yep. Because you don't know how far it's going to pull back. It could pull back to the 23 or the 38 and then sell. So, let's go back to the weekly. I mean, if I were trading this, I don't know if of course, this is the counter trend. So we all know I will be looking for price to come down here for the buy. That's my thought. Because all this is probably just going to go back and forth, back and forth. Is there anything happening this week in News. Let me go to Forex Factory. If they're FORE. Um, JPY. There's some news today, but of course we're not trading it. So that means come market open, it's either going to spike to the downside or spike to the upside. Gap to the downside. There's news today at 12:25 for JPY. A red folder. And then next week, Thursday, is unemployment claims and GDP, preliminary GDP. And that's all I see for USD. No other red folder for JPY other than today. So yeah, I would be,
It looks better.
yeah. Yeah. I would definitely be looking to trade something else. All right. Anything else anybody want to see?
EN.
And
What's your favorite, Kim?
who asked me that? Kai asked me that.
Hi.
Now, Kai, you know better.
You still trade no funky GJ. Lord have mercy.
Ooh, see, that's why GJ treats you like it do. Um, I think last week we talked about price pulling back to this zone and buying up to this high, which it did. Um, and as you can see, it swept the high or closed above on the daily. Let's go to the 4 hour. I think I had something else marked up a little higher. There was a right here. So there were two supply zones. We have this one here and this one here. So that's why I created those two lines up here. Um, so we're probably going to get a pullback. Let's look at the 4 hour. Um, there's this 4 hour order block. The price is kind of respecting. And then there's this 1 hour supply zone. So it's not given the structure that I would like to see. So my guess is it's probably going to buy up some more. Um, or if it's going to respect this 1 hour order block, if it breaks this structure here, then I would be looking for a um, pullback to then sell back down to at least retest this break here. I mean, this is a huge imbalance, so I I would be looking to sell from up here somewhere or somewhere from this zone, in between this zone. Like I said, it's not giving me the structure that I would like to see. So maybe it's going to push up and then give us a shift and then sell back down to here. Um, but right now it's not doing much of nothing. probably consolidating, but if it breaks below this low, then I would be looking for a sell because then you have structure. Then you will have structure. And that's what I see for EN. Anything else?
Yes, GA, please.
GA. Let's see. So, I think last week we talked about GA selling back down to the zone. Um, it's in there, and this is the current structure. So maybe price will pull back, and then I don't know. Let's see. This is the swing low. Let's go to the weekly. Let me move all this junk. Weekly. Um, do 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 do. Okay, wait a minute. Let me move this because I can't see. Okay. Okay, that makes it better. All right. So um there was a weekly sweep, or am I tripping? Hold on, y'all. Did it sweep that? Is this a whole candle? Let me go back. Daily. Oh yeah. Okay. So this was the structure here. We're looking for price to pull back. I'm going to even narrow this zone down just a little bit more to here. Okay. So we had a daily candle close below. Maybe you'll get a pullback to then continue selling back down to this zone here. Um, so now that I see that, and we narrow the zone down, I would, and I'm just gonna put previous daily low. Okay. And then we have this break of structure here. And then we have the swing high here and then the swing low. Swing high and then swing low. Okay. So I would be looking for price to pull back at least to the break of structure. If not, at least pull back to the previous day low and then maybe continue selling back down to um, this 4-hour demand zone. So, let's go to the 1-hour. Yeah, so you got this impulsive move, you got the sweep of this low. So I would be looking for price to buy back up into, excuse me, back up into this previous day low to then possibly sell. It might even pull up just a little more and then sell. Let's see what that is. Let's fib it.
But from that demand zone on the bottom right there, do you think it's going to buy again? Because for me, it's still bullish. Yes?
It is still
Or
bullish,
no? Yeah.
but I can't answer that. For me, I would be looking for buys, but I would be waiting for structure, some form of structure to form, because either it's going to close below this low, and of course, if it closes below, it'll probably pull back into retest this area or in this um, imbalance to then push back and then buy for a possible sell back down to, I don't know why I had this zone marked up, but
But I think even on the yeah, what time frame is this?
this is on the
There's
daily,
some
but
yeah, okay. So on the higher time frame, I think on the daily or weekly or whatever,
mhm.
there is still liquidity above where
I mean, it's still
it
bullish.
dipped into. Yeah.
It is bullish structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also, we
Mm-hmm.
also, uh-oh. This was bullish structure, price pulled back into it. No, nothing broke this high, pull back,
Yeah.
broke this low. So we were expecting price to pull back into here. So
Mm-hmm.
price could continue and only because it broke this low. So we were expecting price to pull back into the zone to then start selling, maybe continue selling back to the downside. So until something breaks this high, which is a lot of liquidity, which is, you see all this liquidity,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that it's heading up there before it actually drops.
and that could
So
definitely happen.
yeah. So the weekly is this no, the daily. Which time frame were you on the
This is the daily.
can you zoom back in for me, please?
So
No, in. Because it has, okay, right there. So for me, the last candle right now, the last daily candle, the bearish candle,
mm,
kind of looks like it dipped into, or it tapped into that bullish order block to the left.
it did, but once you go down
Yeah.
in time frame, that order block is going to narrow down, right? It's going to narrow down to, and I'm just going to keep this zone marked up. Because on the 1 hour, this is still bearish. The pullback, the retracement is still bearish. So until something breaks this high or price comes and creates another level of structure, and whether it pulls back to here or back to the daily and close below this low, which would have formed another level of structure, then you would need to see price shift this structure, pull back, and then buy. So if it doesn't close below this low right here and gives you structure and gives you a market structure shift, then we know it's going higher. It's going up to these highs.
Mm.
But it's got to create a market structure shift. And currently, this is the structure that price that the market is giving us.
Yes.
So until we see another level of structure and then a shift, then um then it's still bearish.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Fine. Um, all right. Anything else? And I'm gonna keep that there. Just in case. Anything else? Anybody want to see? My stomach's growling. Oh, wait a minute. There are comments. Oh, GA. EJ. We looked at EJ. Hey, Alicia. EJ. Oh, yeah. EJ's a little cray. Anything else? Anything else anybody want to look at? Going once, going twice. Going.
You'll pull up total 3.
Total 3. Total 3. Right here?
Yep.
Okay. Total 3. What the hell is total 3?
Says it's crypto total
No,
market cap.
don't be funny.
Mhm.
You ain't funny.
It's basically your altcoins minus BTC and ETH. Think of it as I don't know, an index fund, a mutual fund with everything minus Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Look like it's still buying. Is it buying?
Well, it is. It's
Oh,
getting ready to.
so it's bullish, right? Um, and then let's go down to the daily. Oh, it might be pulling back. So it looks like we got a little internal shift here. And then we have this little zone here. So price could keep buying up into this zone. And then we would have to see what happens after that. It's either going to break this high or possibly start selling from this zone. So, if it's going to keep pushing up, given structure, then we will, if it's going to start selling, it's not going to take out this high or close above this high. It'll shift structure to then either sell back down to this zone or this low, or because this is the structure here. Hold on. This is the structure here. This was the high. This was the low. This was the break of structure, which created a new high. Okay. So maybe if it breaks here, it may come here and either keep buying, or if it doesn't break this high and shift structure, then my guess is it's probably going to sell down to here and then buy.
What is this?
It's it, it's all of the crypto coins
Okay.
minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically, it's like a altcoin sector index.
Like a basket almost.
Yeah, yeah, and you can't buy it like as a basket,
Like a
but
density there. Okay.
it gives you an idea. It gives you an idea of what's gonna happen or what's likely gonna happen to the altcoins.
In
So,
comparison to what though?
well, in comparison, really to, I guess, the dollar, what this is basically telling you is the altcoins are getting ready to explode. Is it 1 month? Is it 2 months? Is it 3 months from now? I mean, I don't know. But what the chart is telling you is altcoins are going to go higher. So I'm going to reiterate this point. If if Kim, type in total.
Huh?
total without the three.
Okay.
It's that top one. It's the total market cap of all of crypto. Go to the monthly chart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this chart is bullish. It tells you Bitcoin, ETH, all of crypto is going higher. And if Kim puts a Fibonacci on this, it'll give you an idea of where this chart is headed. And I mean, I probably have to, you're going to have to zoom it out and like anchor your fib like on the 2022-ish lows,
Okay. Hold on.
or maybe even go back.
Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha.
And probably the Fibonacci extension tool is better than the retracement tool because what I'm trying to give people an idea of is where price is headed.
Mm.
So based on
So
it monthly, I can see price maybe just pulling back to here and then headed to the negative 27 or even the 618, which is, I don't know. Is this, wait a minute. What is this saying over here? What's the
I
T
can't.
for?
That's giving you the total market cap. Remember a
Uh,
couple of weeks ago, I said, hey guys, the space is worth roughly $4 trillion. It's going to $100 trillion.
so this is
Mm.
4.8 trillion or 5.6 trillion.
Right.
What this is
As
giving
a
us? Okay.
Yeah. So when you put your Fibonacci extension on this
Oh,
and you look at,
that thing. Hold on.
the extension targets, it kind of gives you a roadmap of how you get potentially from 4 trillion where we are today to 100 trillion. And we're not going to go there in a straight line. We will go there in cycles, but it will give you an idea of where this cycle top likely is.
Mm.
And to me, the cycle top is probably going to be somewhere between 10 and 12 trillion, based off of those price targets on that Fibonacci.
So I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it with the Dixie on a daily. So it's moving with the Dixie on a daily. But when you go to the week, hold on a second. When I go to the weekly chart, they move a little inverted with each other.
Well, they should move inverted because again, you got an asset or an asset class, and you're basically pairing it with the
Mm.
dollar. Everything is a pair.
Let's see something.
The Nasdaq is a pair, the Dow is a pair, the S&P, everything is a pair. In
Again.
America, we pair everything against the dollar. If you're in Europe, and I guess you pair it against the euro. If you're in whatever country you're in, you pair it against whatever currency you use.
Mm.
But everything is a pair.
2 weeks.
So, and what this is telling you is that in dollar terms, this asset class is going to go from 4 trillion to, 10 or 12 trillion.
So is it like a list of these baskets, or is it just every coin except for Bitcoin, Ethereum?
So total is everything.
Gotcha.
Total one is everything minus Bitcoin, or total two, something like that. There's total, I think there's total two, there's total three. And I think there's one called others.
Yeah.
So, there's a time when you should be primarily in Bitcoin versus ETH and all the other stuff. There's a time when maybe you should be in Bitcoin and ETH versus all the other stuff. And then there's a time when maybe you should be a little heavily in all the other stuff.
Mm.
So when you look at that total three chart, that's everything minus Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Mm.
What that is telling you is, hey, all of this other shit, all of the shit coins, the altcoins, they're getting ready to move.
Gotcha.
So every now and then I look at this chart because it gives me an idea of, hey, is it altcoin season? Is it time to get into this stuff, or hey, I still got a little bit more time to accumulate some of these coins before they explode out the gate.
Have you kind of figured out the cycles of those?
Yeah, I figured out the cycle. Um, if you look at this chart and you understand what's going on with the interest rates, then you begin to understand that this chart likely doesn't explode higher until about the time that Jerome Powell lowers interest rates. And the logical question should be why? What's the correlation? Well, the correlation is now Joe Main Street has money because he probably has a job because now all the small businesses are hiring. Because with lower interest rates, now I can borrow money cheaper.
Right.
So I got to pay back this loan. The interest rate's low. Now I got money to pay back the loan. I got money to pay you. I got money to buy whatever inventory I may need to buy. The reason Jerome Powell has not wanted to lower interest rates is because Trump put tariffs on everything. So if I'm a business owner and the cost of my supplies has gone up because of the tariffs, then does it really matter if you lower rates? All that stuff gets more expensive. Everything is inflationary. So tariffs are just a tax. Taxes discourage financial activity. So this is kind of how it all works. If but I guess the bottom line here is if money is going to get cheaper, then higher risk assets are likely going to perform. And also the assets like the Dow Jones, the Russell 2000, all of those kind of companies that depend on lower rates to run their business, they should perform better. But as long as rates are held too high, I'm not saying they can't go up, but they're going to go up, in bits and starts. They're going to have a lot of down and sideways chop. Basically, they're just not going to perform. So the charts are telling us that rates are getting ready to get dropped. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, if Kim pulls up the United Health chart, if Kim pulls up the OSCR chart, if Kim pulls up the MOH chart, all those charts look like you should be buying them to me.
What sectors are those?
Say again?
What sectors are those?
Those are healthcare stocks.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you know how to read the fundamentals or the macro, what's going on, then you begin to understand certain things. Yeah, this is what UNH, one of the most hated stocks.
Yeah.
Looks like it's turning around. Maybe you chop a little bit for the next couple of months, but it looks like it's bottoming. It looks like it's turning around to me. If you put in OSCR, if you put in MOH, at some point the stock will break out.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely consolidating right now, but I guess if you trade imbalances, it may come in there and pull back and then break out and then buy.
Mm-hmm. Put in MOH real quick.
This one, Molina Healthcare. It's doing the same as United.
It look kind of like UNH.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody got shot in that company. They didn't get basically busted for Medicare fraud. Why does the chart look the same as UNH? And if you look at when these stocks started going up, about 7, 8 years ago, then they top and then they free fall. to reset.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I would definitely look for it to break above here to then, if you're gonna invest in it.
Right. So the reason I'm bringing these stocks up is because everyone always shows everybody's stocks when they look like Palantir's chart or Nvidia's chart. You know, these are ugly charts. This is Bitcoin at 16,000 when nobody wants to touch it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is the time to buy shit when the charts are like this, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to.
Mm-hmm.
So just make a mental note of it, and let's revisit it in 3 months, 6 months, and see where those charts are.
Set your alerts. Set your alerts.
Pull up WULF.
WULF. Who the heck is Wolf? Mm-hmm. Set.
So basically, this chart is doing what I expect Total 3 to do. You see where you got that black line, Kim, and that consolidation?
I was about to say, you know, price is going, stocks normally come back and close the gap, and then
Right. But my point is, if you look at a chart like Total 3, if you look at a chart like OSCR, you
yes,
haven't had the breakout yet.
yeah, and that's what I marked up. That hold on, let me let me play so I can come back to it later. I forgot the other one she told me, but um, total 3. So yeah, so based on the monthly, price could pull back just if it's going to pull back, it could pull back to this zone here and then take off.
Right. And it may very well pull back because again, this is just August. We still got September. He still has to announce that he's cutting rates. We still got, that news I think that's coming out next week, some kind of jobs report, I believe. Is that correct? Um, so,
Yeah.
I mean, that data's bad. I can see these charts pulling back. Um, but anyway,
Unemployment claims are on Thursday. Yep.
yeah, if that number's hotter than expected, I can see the charts pulling back. But anyway, just something to make people aware so they can you got some cheap stuff out there if you're interested in potentially buying it. Um, because probably in the next 3 to 6 months, all those charts are going to be higher and I don't want people to say that they didn't know and they would have bought it and all these kinds of things. Because the other way to play some of this stuff, especially on the stock side, is through options, call options.
Yeah.
Because if you can look at this chart or any of these charts and know that something's going higher, maybe you don't know the exact timing of it. You buy you a 6 month call option and just wait.
I'll agree. I'll agree. Gotcha. Noted.
Anyway, that's all I got, Ken.
Uh, Alerts are inaccurate. What? Okay. Thank you, Sean.
All right.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Anybody else got any questions for Sean on investing? Investing. Okay. Anything else before we close out? Did I miss anything?
Hey, Kim, I have a question for Sean.
Yes.
How do we find these types of stocks before they go up? Like, what's the process of finding? Because I'm not familiar with stocks.
The way I find them, quite honestly, is YouTube and like on different social media platforms.
Okay.
I'll randomly find, or come across people's posts where they're throwing out ticker symbols, and they're usually not saying, hey guys, this is going to go up, but they'll throw out a ticker symbol and I'll just go pull up the chart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And if I like the chart, then I kind of put that on my watch list. And then, a lot of times I don't go research financials and all that kind of crap, because in my experience, everything's in the chart. If the chart says it's time to buy the stock, the financials and everything miraculously, are in agreement, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you follow these assets long enough and then you pay attention to some of the headlines that come out, it's amazing the timing of a lot of this stuff. I've come to believe, honestly, over the last 5 years that it's all orchestrated and fixed. Like I remember, I think it wasn't this year. I think it was springtime-ish, maybe May or June of 2024. And we had been going up. I think it was the Bitcoin chart, maybe it was the Nasdaq or the S&P, but we had been going up and everything was good. And there was a bearish order block on one of the charts. And I remember telling my brother, well, the chart says this is gonna go down, but I don't know what the catalyst is gonna be. And maybe it was a weekly bearish order block. But anyway, the point is that Saturday, Iran shot missiles at Israel and the shit went down. So, but the chart was ahead of the announcement or the headline. So, and it's been a bunch of little things like that I've just noticed over the year, like all the headlines around Intel and the government taking a stake in the company. It looks like a chart that's bottoming. Probably time to buy Intel. I just find the headlines interesting. The headlines around Nvidia, Trump doesn't want them to sell their shit to China. You look at Nvidia, I mean, it looks like it needs to pull back. So just the timing of some of the headlines, just to me at least, are interesting when you look at the charts.
Yep. So
thank you.
based
You're
on
welcome.
previous structure, right? Prices tapped into the negative 27. Is it going to the 618 before it pulls back, or is it going to start pulling? It's already tapped a negative 27. So we know somewhere in between here, we're probably going to get a pullback. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, who knows? I can't always predict it. Sometimes my guesses and calls are wrong, but I just find a lot of the headlines, the timing of the headlines interesting.
Mm-hmm. So somewhere in here, probably.
Pull up Intel. INTC is what it is. What do you know?
What do you know?
I didn't even know on that. What was that first chart? Was that a 4 hour chart that you had it on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, go back to that 4 hour. That shit look like it's going higher. Uh, and
Well,
I don't even usually look down that low, but
I think it's probably it might come down a little bit more, just a little bit before.
well, it might, Kim. But again,
I
I
mean,
don't
yes,
treat investing the way like I treat a leverage trade.
I'm.
The big picture, this chart is bottoming and suggests that it's going to go higher. Big picture.
Hmm.
So it might go down next week. It might go down the week after that. What I care about when it comes to these stocks are when I come back in 3 months, when I come back in 6 months, is price going to be higher than it is today?
Hmm.
And the chart suggests that it will be.
Hmm.
If you look at this going back to 2011, this is a multi-year low. This chart is bottoming.
You say go back to who?
If
27.
you look back to 2011 on no, you don't have to scroll it. It's right there on your screen.
Oh, my bad. Right here.
Yeah, it's bottoming. If you go back to 2011 and even further, and you drew one of your rectangular boxes that you do,
Uh-huh.
you're in the buy zone.
No, I get you. I got you. I
I'm
got
not preaching at you. I'm just saying, you're
you.
that's probably a deviation, a manipulation downward. You probably don't revisit that. You could, but you probably don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all this is a risk reward game. If you buy this and it goes down, I mean, how much further can it go down? It's already fell down, what, 80%, 85%, something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
So right now it's at what, 24? If it goes to 16. If it goes to 16 or 16.75, something around there.
this is probably a good DCA candidate. If you think it can go back to 16 or lower, if you got X amount of dollars, maybe you put a tenth of it in now,
Mm-hmm.
and then another 10 next month, and then another 10 the month after, or 20, 20, 20. You know what I mean? The point is, if you're worried about potential downside, you just layer in over the course of a few months as opposed to dropping all of your money in it Monday, as an example.
Mm-hmm.
But even pull up Apple real quick.
You ever look at AI stocks at all?
Yeah, I do.
What's
So real quick, just let me yap about Apple, then we can talk AI stocks. So if Kim, if you was to put the 200 week moving average on it, and you'd have to go to the weekly chart for it to show up. But if you were to put that on this chart, you would see that I believe it was probably back in April
You say
that
the
price,
moving average or the EMA? Or I
well,
don't
the SMA, 200 SMA.
know.
And you can probably just pick either one of them. And then once you get it up there, you can just change the number from whatever to 200.
Oh, hell no. Hold on. That ain't right.
But recently, probably about 3 months ago, price went down and touched the 200-week moving average. And I remember my dad told me years ago, that Warren Buffett said, if all people did was buy stocks when they touched the 200 period moving average, then they would make a lot of money. And I've come to believe that, because most of the time when stuff touches the 200-week moving average,
I don't even know how to.
it's time to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess, Apple has been unloved, for a while now. My guess is that it outperforms from here, because it finally went down and touched this 200. Then you got that kind of upward flag,
Demand
and
zone.
then it's breaking out. And it's not too late. But the ideal time to buy Apple would have been when it went down and touched that 200. But in comparison to where it's going, it's, it still has a lot of upside.
Mm-hmm.
But who's asking about AI stocks?
Delaney.
What's the question?
Well, I'm just curious. Like our AI stocks, if you looked into them, and it's just a question because I'm looking at a YouTube video right now about AI
Oh,
being
yeah,
but like,
yeah. I look into them, and a lot of those AI stocks are tied to stocks like Nvidia, like Palantir. A lot of them are all tied to the same thing, and even to crypto in a way. What I try to explain to people is what makes crypto valuable is the network effect. And all that means is all crypto is, every project is it's a network. And if the network gains users in adaptation, then the value of the network explodes exponentially. That's all Meta is. That's all Amazon is. That's what the internet is. That's what Netflix is. So people think that Amazon is valuable because people buy and sell shit on there. Yes, it is, because people buy and sell shit. But what makes Amazon really valuable is the million people that use it. What makes Meta really valuable is the million people that use it, or
yeah, I got,
billion people that use it. What makes Bitcoin valuable is the billion people that use it. That's why the way to look at crypto is when they tell you that such and such crypto is going to get an ETF, that means a billion people via their money being buying that shit in that ETF. That's use case. It's going to explode up.
yeah. I was
So
asking.
the whole idea that I can't touch a Bitcoin, that I can't touch a Solana coin, or a whatever, if that's the line of thinking that you have, you got to get your mind right, you know, because you're going to get left behind with that line of thinking. You know, Nvidia sells these chips that make networking possible. Why are people paying $30,000 to $70,000 for these chips?
Are you talking about the network? Are you talking about the
It's
user?
not because of the chip, because of what the chip can do. Huh?
Are you talking about the network? It's on or the network, the community.
Network, WORK.
I was just asking.
Net.
I'm clear.
Yeah, I know you are, and it's a good question. What you should look up, Delaney, you can Google it, Metcalfe's Law, and read that definition,
Hold on.
because it says as you add users, the value of the network increases exponentially. And all you got to do is look at Palantir's chart, look at Nvidia's chart, look at Bitcoin's chart, look at Solana's chart.
Okay.
Look at Google's chart, Amazon's chart. And
Okay.
the
So
value of all of that stuff has increased exponentially.
I got you. It used the end quantitative. So where the n, the number of user nodes in the network, is every new user doesn't just add value. Individually, they create new potential connections with all existing users. Gotcha.
So this is what I'm talking about when I say, hey, the the world is picking up the financial sectors and they're putting it on blockchain rails. Ethereum. You listen to that Tom Lee guy, Solana, Bitcoin. They're moving off of the analog stuff or whatever we got going on now, and they're putting it on blockchain. That's why I showed you the total chart. That's why I showed you the total 3 chart. That's why I keep saying, hey guys, we're going from 4 trillion to 100 trillion because you got all this money and all these users that they haven't made the migration from the old country, the old tech, to the new country, blockchain. But they're coming. And guys like Tom Lee are telling you they are. You put the Fibonacci on that chart, it's telling you where we're going. You just got to pay attention and have a little patience.
This actually makes sense. There's a crypto network here in Atlanta. There's a group probably like 150 that's here. And one of the guys that teaches there, he actually was talking about all of his platforms that he's building is derived around gaining users, gamifying it as well. But it's to build that user base for crypto, like crypto friendly users, whatnot. And
Right.
that's all he's been focusing on for the last year or so with this new platform he was designing. So that makes a lot more sense from just the buying and selling of it. I ain't think of it.
Right. And honestly, I've held Bitcoin since 2018. It's 30x since then. It's gonna continue to go higher. Another 10x is gonna be $1 million. We will have $1 million Bitcoin come 2028, probably.
Look at me coming to count your coins. Hold on.
So so what I'm telling people too in part is like this is a trading group. Everybody's down on a 4-hour time frame, the 1-hour time frame. And I'm not telling you don't do that. But what I'm telling you is periodically, man, you gotta zoom out and you have to have a conversation with yourself and you have to ask yourself, why are you spinning your wheels in the dollar, which is a melting ice cube? You know, shouldn't when you win a trade, you have a big trade. Why don't you take some of that money, man, and invest it in Bitcoin, in
Yeah.
ETH, in
Yeah.
Solana? That's all I'm suggesting here. You know, because we know where the space is going. That's why every now and then I come back and I make people pull up the chart. Hey man, we're at $4 trillion. We're going to probably 10 or 12 this cycle, and then we probably crash. And if we have an 80% crash in the space, that means we go from, I don't know, 12 back down to 3, 3.5, maybe 4. That should be the next bottom. You buy that bottom, and then we go up to, I don't know, 40 trillion, 50 trillion on the next cycle. You see what I'm saying? We're going to 100, but we're going in waves. ICT has told everybody price runs up, we crash 80%. That's the optimal trade entry. That's true on a 1-hour chart, and that's true on a freaking monthly chart. So it's right there in front of everybody. But you got to look at it every now and then, and you have to, when the chart says it's time to buy, you got to grit your teeth and buy it. You know, prime example, that UNH chart, that MOH chart. You know, those are ugly charts. Warren Buffett said, buy when there's blood in the streets. There's blood in the streets in the healthcare sector.
What sectors are you? So you're looking at health, tech, dollar, commodity, and crypto. Am I saying it right?
Right. But if I'm 100% honest with you though, I pretty much was just looking at tech. But I kept seeing, this guy on Threads throwing out these ticker symbols.
Mm.
So one day, I was like, let me go look and see what the fuck he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked, and all the charts were bottoming. And then when I knew UNH was healthcare, but I didn't know OSCR was, and I didn't know MOH was. But when I did the research, I noticed that everything was healthcare sector. So I was like, oh well, shit, something's going on in healthcare. Because if you take UNH by itself, and you know what happened with the CEO, and you know what happened with them, I don't know if they committed Medicare fraud or not, but I heard that, they were accused of it. So if you just pay attention to those isolated headlines, your thought process is, oh, there's something going on with UNH. It's bad. I'm not touching the stock. But then when you look at the entire sector and you see everything's down, then you begin to understand, okay, these headlines are generated to push price down. And when it bottoms, price is coming back. It's really kind of no different than what happened with Sam Bankman-Fried and crypto the last time. Negative headlines and so on and so forth. Price crashes. Bitcoin goes down to 16K or 15, wherever the bottom was. Everyone hates it. And I remember trying to get people in the group to buy it. I think it was in the 20s. And I know nobody wanted to touch it, Everybody just kind of looked at it. And, I got the kind of silent responses, which lack of response. But now we're over 100.
Do you have
So
like an average dollar? What they call it? Average
uh,
cost dollar.
yeah, the average cost, per coin or per buy, whatever. Yeah, mine is I don't know, man. I mean, for one of my coins, it's like in the threes, 3,000.
Mm.
And then I don't know, a half a coin that's probably, it's a lot higher and it's spread over different wallets. But if I had to guess, that's probably going to be, I'm just going to round it to probably the 60,000 area, probably.
Okay.
The other thing I did was we got this we got these IRAs that are managed by Fisher Investment.
Mm-hmm.
So back when they first came up with the Bitcoin ETF, I called a guy up and I said, "Hey man, I want you to put some of the money in a Bitcoin ETF." He gave me some song and dance about how they couldn't do it, and foolishly, I kind of, I went with it. And then Bitcoin doubles, when I initially made the call, Bitcoin was about $30,000. Bitcoin doubles to 60. I call him back and I tell him, hey, I need that money moved over, at least some of that money moved over. So after a back and forth, he agrees to move, 100 and I think it was $126,000 in the IRA over. So I got that probably by the time it got done, Bitcoin was probably, I don't know, 70,000 around in there. I know I got the ETF at $36 a share. So it hasn't quite doubled yet because I think the cost right now is, I don't know, 66 for a share.
Mm.
So, but the point is, I can't touch that money anyway. It's trapped in a retirement account. We can't touch that money without penalty until we're old enough to retire. I think you got to be 59 and a half years old before you can touch that money. So anybody out here that has an IRA, anybody out here that has, I don't think you can do it yet in your 401ks. I heard that Trump was signing or did sign an executive order that's going to make it accessible via a 401k. But when and if that day comes, if you have those retirement vehicles, the money's trapped, man. You can't use it tomorrow. You can't use it next week. You can't use it next year. Buy Bitcoin in your retirement vehicle. By the time you get ready to retire, God knows how much Bitcoin will be worth. But I just try to periodically get people to look longer term at some of this stuff, because the statistics say that if you just buy something and hold it for 10 years, 5 years, you're going to do better than the guy that's trading in and out. That's what the statistics say. So I don't want to rain on everybody's trading parade, but I would say, hey, man, why don't you just take some of your money and just buy this stuff and hold it, and then just trade with the other part of your money and see at the end of the day which side of your portfolio does better. Maybe it'll be the trading side. I don't know. But for most people, it won't be.
I actually thought about doing that with my IRAs. The other day, I actually sent a message to my financial advisor to see, you know, when we could do it and stuff. But um, do you think now's the time to do it?
How old are you?
43?
Yeah, I think now's the time. I think
Because
even if
I
you,
have with the jobs that I used to work in mortgage banking. So I work with two different companies, and when I left, I rolled over my 401k. It's not a lot of money, but it's really not. I mean, just it's not making any money there. I mean, I get my statements every quarter, and I'm like, they're almost the same.
what's an investment?
Do what?
What is your 401k? The one you're saying that the balance, that it never moves. What what is that money invested in?
They're IRAs. They're not 401ks. I rolled them over to IRAs.
Well, hold,
I don't
hold
know.
on, hold on. So I understand that the vehicle is an IRA, but even
Mm-hmm.
in an IRA, someone still has to take that money that's inside of that IRA. Think of the IRA as a house.
Mm-hmm.
You still got to invest it in something. So what is it invested in? I have money in a 401k too, but it's invested in a life cycle S&P fund because that's the most aggressive thing that my job offers. So you got money in an IRA, but what is it invested in?
Oh, I'd have to go in there and look and see what it's all in there, where it's
Right.
at.
So,
Yeah.
the other thing I was going to say is I suspect, and I could be wrong, but I think your balance isn't moving because it's probably just sitting in a money market fund inside of your IRA. It's probably not
Mm-hmm.
invested in anything.
Yeah.
And
So,
and also because you know how to trade, right? And most of the your IRA, like you have a like a bro is it with a bro I know it's with a broker of some sort. Most of
Mm-hmm.
the time they don't know. They just pretty much putting money wherever.
Yeah. And I think when I messaged him, when I called him and then I messaged him because he didn't answer me, I told him I wanted to, change it from where it was at to Bitcoin or XRP or, in crypto. And he messaged me back, kind of like, well, I need to talk to you and see what we can do or whatever. It didn't seem like he kind of knew what he
Prob-
was sure that we could move it over because, like you said, we're we look at the market's different, you know?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
right now they have an Ethereum ETF and they have a Bitcoin ETF. I don't think they
Okay.
have an XRP ETF yet. So he may not be able to invest it in, anything, any crypto outside of Bitcoin or Ethereum, because the other ones, I'm pretty sure that we don't have ETFs available yet, but they're
So the
coming.
only ones that I can roll over to is going to be the Ethereum and the Bitcoin.
Right.
Okay.
And the Ethereum ETF, the ticker symbol is ETHA, ETHA.
ETHA.
Yeah, the Bitcoin ETF,
Uh-huh.
IBIT. There are other ones out there, but those are the ones that I use. They're BlackRock ETFs.
Okay.
So, and don't take no for an answer. And like the point I want to make is I think this cycle, and I'm speculating, I could be wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
don't come back with the shotguns if I turn out to be wrong. This cycle, I think Bitcoin runs up to 250,000, maybe a little higher, but I'm going to say 250,000.
Wow.
I think once you get to 250, you're going to have a correction, a crash.
Mm-hmm.
And that bottom is maybe ends up being around 70,000.
Okay, so I have a
So,
question before you move on. So
okay.
let's say that because I do hold some coins and I do have a tiny bit of Bitcoin and XRP and stuff. I have more XRP than anything else, but only because I've been putting some in there from like my trading money. I don't actually take a lot of my trading money out. When I do make some, I just leave it in my Bitcoin and I just move it over to, different cryptos or different coins or whatever. So you're saying that, it could run up to 250,000. Let's say it does get there or close to that. Where do you move it to from there if you know that the crash is coming? Since,
Move it into
we look at
dollars.
the markets that way. I'm sorry?
If I'm on a crypto site, I move into USDT, USDC, I move it into dollars, a digital dollar. If I'm
Okay.
in an IRA kind of environment, I sell it. And now my cash is in dollars.
Okay, so if I take it out from the IRA and put it into these EFTs, I can cash it out for dollars then after that and not be penalized or
So you won't be penalized. And so you got to think of the IRA as a house.
right.
You move the money into the IRA, it's sitting in dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's inside of that vehicle.
Right.
You invest it in whatever you invested in.
Okay.
You can buy and sell that stuff till the cows come home inside of
Mm-hmm.
that IRA. And actually, let me back up. There's a traditional IRA and there's a Roth IRA. If
I
you
think I
probably
have the
want
Roth IRA on both of my IRAs.
you have the Roth IRA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I think they're both Roth IRAs.
if I'm not mistaken, then the Roth IRA, you can buy and sell all that stuff, and I don't think you get taxed on it because you already tax the money. I have to go back and Google it, to be sure. But if you have a traditional one, you will have to pay taxes on whatever you sell at the end of every year. But it doesn't matter though. You
Okay.
just pay the taxes. The
Mm-hmm.
money's in that vehicle regardless,
Okay.
because you can't spend it without penalty. So you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have the money to pay the taxes. Never let potential taxes scare you out of making 100%.
Right. Okay. All right.
So, but but yeah, what I would tell you at 43, let's say, I mean, you can't retire for let's just call it 20 years, maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
17, something like that. It's a long time away. It's
Yeah.
it's a generation away. So yeah, it's not too late. if the space is going from 4 trillion to 100 trillion, we're still early. We're still early in the game. And as we go through the cycles on our way to 100 trillion, the booms and the busts, when we bust, you've got to go in hard and buy those bottoms.
Right.
That's how the money's made. Which again, not to beat a dead horse, is why, I had Kim pull up MOH, UNH, OSCR,
Mm-hmm.
because, now's the time to buy those stocks.
Okay.
And any asset, Bitcoin in particular, if let's say I'm right, we run up to 250. Ideally, you sell the top, it crashes back down to wherever it's going to crash back down to. In fact, Kim,
Yep.
can
You
you give
want,
me control of this?
oh, you want,
This,
um, I think you have to request it first.
how do I request control?
Down where the share and all that.
Yeah.
Um, it should be somewhere,
Is it the three dots thing?
maybe request or no.
That's not it. Well, Kim, you can do it. If you go back to like the 2018 bear market on this chart, or even, I don't know, the COVID crash, that low point of 2020,
Yeah.
like you'll have to erase that Fibonacci that you have on there. But if you anchor it on that 2020 COVID crash and stretch it out to the top of the last bull market.
That's where it was, right on the 2020, right
Oh,
here.
was it? Okay, my bad. So if you do that and you look at where, like, okay, so you see how Kim has that 78.6
Go back to the
black
7.
line drawn?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That happens almost every cycle.
Okay.
So like I was telling everybody, I bought my Bitcoin back in 2018 and in the 3000s, in the low 3000s. We ran up to 69,000 or whatever the number was, and we crashed back down to 15. So now you anchor it on that bottom, and we're going to stretch it out to whatever this cycle's top is.
Yep. Depending on how far it goes.
But the other thing, Kim, if you use the fib extension tool and you anchor it on that 2020 bottom and you stretch it to the 2021 top, and then you come down to the previous bear market bottom, now go stretch it out to the right. Keep going, dragging out to the right. Okay. Well, yeah, there you go. So now if you scrunch this down where we can see the whole Fibonacci tool, those lines are price targets.
Mm-hmm.
So prices run up to the 1.618. My guess is that we're going to the 2.618 and ultimately to the 3.618.
Okay.
And there's a chance we could go to the 4.236. I don't know, but most likely we're going to the 3.618. And if Kim drags her cursor up there to the 3.618, you can kind of see what does that number say?
251,
251.
49,
So that's why I think we're going to 250,000.
251, 40.
If the 250 turns out to be the top, so Kim, what you would do is you grab your fib extension tool from this bottom, this $16,000 bottom,
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
not extension, retracement, fib retracement tool.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Put it on the $16,000 bottom or your black 78.6 line.
Mm-hmm.
Stretch it out to 250. Let's pretend like that's the top.
250. Uh-huh.
Where's your 78.6?
Oh, the 78. Oh, okay. I see what you're
Right
saying.
here.
Gotcha.
Assuming price crashes 80% again, where's your 78.6?
Right here.
67,
What
around
is that,
67.
67,000? So I'm speculating, but this gives me an idea of where I think price is headed. I could be wrong, but if we do top out at 250, then I anticipate we're probably going to bottom about 70,000.
Mm.
And previous price action is basically where I'm drawing this conclusion from. Like I always say, the lines on the Fibonacci are not just decoration, cute decoration. They mean something. And what they suggest, every line is a price target. And you as an individual trader or investor is, as price approaches this line, you have to decide, okay, do I want to take profits? Should I be taking profits?
Mm-hmm.
And some people do, and some people don't. But if you don't, just understand eventually it's going to hit one of those lines and that's going to be the top. And if you don't take profits, you're going to round trip all the way back down to whatever the new bottom is. The responsible way to trade is you buy that bottom, you buy that $16,000 bottom that nobody wanted to buy. And then when price approaches that first red line, you take a smidge off the table, maybe. As it approaches the next price target, you take a smidge off the table. The next one, you take a smidge off the table. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That way, you never lose money. But most of us don't do it that way. We're doing like kind of like what I'm saying. I'm saying, hey guys, well, I think Bitcoin's going to 250. So I'm staying in the game. Maybe I'm right and we run to 250 and I take some off the table. But if I'm wrong and we don't make 250 and we crash, now I've round tripped it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably mad. You know what I mean? And waiting on the next cycle.
Yeah, because I'm mad at you that you didn't tell me to get in right here.
I
This
didn't tell you at
this
16,
was
Kim, but I
this was
did
back
tell
in
you at around
Yeah.
30. I
back,
did tell everybody around
this
30
was
and
before Christmas of 2022. Do you know
Kim,
when?
did you get in at 30?
No.
That's what I'm talking about. So if you wouldn't buy at 30, I know you wouldn't have bought it at 16.
Yes, if you had, Sean, you know I
Yeah.
would have bought it. You know I would have bought it as soon as you
Well,
said it.
how come you didn't buy at 16 at 30 then?
I wasn't looking at it.
I said in the class, I told everybody
I must have
to
missed.
buy it.
I must have missed that day.
Oh, okay. I know I definitely said it because I remember me and
Ah,
Leandra had a
Kim.
long,
Ah.
drawn out conversation about it.
Uh,
And because it was around the time when those banks that failed, Silicon Valley and Silvergate or whatever, it was around that time, you know. And even when price consolidated there for 8 months, you know, where you have that second black line last summer when price consolidated for 8 months,
here. Mm-hmm.
you know, that was a buy zone. This is what's going on right now with OSCR. You have this coffee cup and you have this consolidation handle. It's at some point it's going higher. I can't tell you, hey, next month it's going higher. It's breaking out. 2 months from now it's breaking out.
It's okay. I'll be
But
come back.
it's gonna break out.
Mhm.
And the other thing that you can do, Kim, if you grab the not that line or that the tool with the ray.
The tool with the
Well, the trend line is what we need.
yeah.
It's in that thing on the left with the ray. But if you use the trend line tool,
Oh,
not the ray, the trend line,
oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
and you put it on the bottom, kind of where that black line is, where you have your cursor now,
Mm-hmm.
and you stretch it out to the top of that cup. No, straight up, not diagonal like that. Just straight. Bring it. Yeah, make it perpendicular to the black line, Kim.
Wait. Hold on. Let me turn off my magnet. Who's that? You talking about here?
Yeah. And then make it perpendicular, like straight up. Point it straight up towards the top of the screen, not at an angle, straight up.
What?
Just please do it. Point it straight up, but bring it down to the level of the top of that cup where that consolidation started. Bring it down.
Okay. Man, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Kim,
No,
bring
straight
it
up.
down. Bring it down. Down.
You want me to put it under the consolidation or above?
The first consolidation. The one
Right where
that's on
that green
level with
area is
the
Right
at.
previous
here.
all-time
Yeah.
high. Yeah, that consolidation is at the same level as the 2021 high.
The 2021 high. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So bring that top circle down to that level,
Or you want me to?
but straighten up your trend line. Make it go straight up and down,
Okay, 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 okay.
but bring it down to the level of that 2021 high. Bring it down, Kim. Down. Yeah, like just like that. Now straighten it up. Make it go straight up. You got it at an angle. Make it go straight. No, no, Kim. But bring it down though. I just want the line straight.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Okay. So now, okay. Now pick up that entire line and anchor the bottom of it at
At the
at
top.
at yeah, at the top.
Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna do this.
It's tough, man. But you gotta, yeah, okay. So that's your price target. When price was consolidating, that's your price target. And you see that we've hit that price target.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm suggesting here is the Fibonacci extension tool works.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to use it.
And the Fibonacci.
Yeah, the retracement tool works too.
Because prices at 618 is a sign of reversal. So once it taps it or goes past it a little bit, and as you can see in your retracement tool, I mean in your extension tool, so we'll probably get some kind of pullback.
I don't think it's going to be that deep, but anything's possible.
Well, based on structure, right? This is the current structure. So price could just pull back here and then keep going, or um,
Yeah, we may
or
pull back to the red line. I don't think we get a hella deep pullback though.
yeah.
Um, but the point is, once you have once you have faith in the extension tool, then the headlines, the bullshit becomes noise.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If you can interpret the fundamental backdrop of what's going on, then a lot of the headlines and the stupidity just becomes white noise. And you know, I don't give a fuck what they say, we're going higher. I'm staying in. You see what I'm saying? You know, that's why I always reference Trump's big, beautiful bill. It's inflationary. They have to print money. If they print money, assets have to move higher. They have to, and they will. So if I know they're going to print billions and hand them to all these newborns or their families, if I know they're going to print billions and hand them to the tech bros, Bitcoin will go higher. Probably will hit 250. I can't see how it will hit 250, but it probably is going to hit 250. The Nasdaq, the S&P, if you put these tools on all of these assets, the Fibonacci suggests they're all going to go higher. And the argument or the proof, the backup, you know, the ammunition, whatever you want to call it, at least in my mind, is I look at stuff in the macro or the fundamental. And I keep pointing at this bill saying, well, if they're going to produce all this money out of thin air to hand out to all these people, then this shit's going to move higher. If they've increased the supplemental ratio, leverage ratio for the banks, if they've nationalized or unnationalized Fannie Mae, all of this is telling you that there's going to be an explosion of new money. If Jerome Powell who hates Trump, is out there saying, "Hey guys, yeah, unemployment's getting out of control, so I'm probably going to have to lower rates." Everything is saying cheap printed money. And if there's cheap printed money, aka liquidity, that shit's running into assets. You are going to have asset inflation. Everything
So,
is a pair. Go ahead. What was the question?
yesterday when he did his speech, the interest rates actually didn't even lower, did they?
Well, they didn't, but that wasn't the meeting where he raises or lowers them, though. That was the Jackson Hole thing that they do every year. So
Okay. Well, the reason I'm saying is because my mother-in-law, she put her house up for sale a few months ago. I'm gonna say like 3 months ago. And I told my husband, I'm like, if that house doesn't sell in a few months, she's gonna have to lower the price a lot. She listed it for 325 and then she lowered it to 318 and she still hasn't sold it. And I told him I think it was last week because I saw that, that speech was coming up. I told him, I said, the rates are probably gonna be cut and she's gonna have to lower the price on her house again. And yesterday he told me, he said, my mom had to lower the price again. So I don't know. I think it's at 285 now.
here's what I would ask you. How desperate is it your mother-in-law or his mom or whose
My
mom is it?
mother-in-law, she's pretty desperate because she's got 2 mortgages now.
Okay. So when he lowers those rates, the houses are going to start selling. So he's going to start lowering those rates, I believe, next month in September.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was her, I wouldn't lower my price
So
Mm-mm.
leave it.
because yeah, I would because when they lower the rates, when they make money cheap, it's no different than you buying. Do you want to pay 5% interest on the car? Or do you want to pay 2%?
Right.
I'm not into real estate, but being as somebody who just sold their house, and if I had known that back in March, I probably would have held on until they lowered the rate, and then I probably would have gotten exactly what I wanted to get.
You wanted,
But
yeah.
you would have, Kim, and you should have told me. Kim, I used to have a real estate license.
What?
Mm.
See,
I
you
know a little bit
ain't tell
about the
nobody.
market.
You ain't tell nobody that. See?
I mean, well, I didn't keep it a secret. So any anyway, the point I'm making is when they wanna stimulate economic activity, they lower rates. They make money cheap. When
Mm-hmm.
they want to snuff it out, they raise rates. They make money more expensive.
Okay.
So the way you have to think about it so you understand it maybe on an individual level is if you own a house, if you've ever bought a car, you don't want to pay a higher interest rate. You want to pay a lower interest rate.
Right.
What Joe Snuffy out there that runs that small business, he usually has to borrow money to run the business. So does he want to pay 6 or 7% interest if he has to borrow 100K, or does he want to pay 2 or 3% interest?
Now,
He want
I will say, as a person who's looking to buy now, right? And this may sound crazy, but I'd rather pay a high interest because then then I can negotiate, kind of with the seller and then just refinance once the rates
Yes.
are lower.
well,
Yes.
it depends on what side of the equation you're on. High interest rate environments are buyers markets or yeah, buyers markets. Low interest rate
Maybe guess what?
environments are sellers markets
I'm buying. That's
because
what I'm saying.
what right that's kind of the point that I'm making for the larger audience here. When interest rates are high and I'm selling, I don't have a line of people at my door. So if I'm desperate to sell my house, like her mother-in-law is, if a buyer shows up and they lowball me on the price, depending on how desperate I am, how bad I want to unload this house, I'm inclined to lower my price. But if it's a low rate environment where money's cheap, I might have a line of 10 people at the door fighting over the house. I'll give you 300. I'll give you 310. I'll give you 320. I'll give you 330. You see what I'm saying? Because the money's
Yeah.
cheap. So that's why I'm saying if her mother-in-law can hold on, I would, because it looks like rate cuts are right around the corner.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, all of this stuff, my guess, and I'm going to use the word guess because nothing's an absolute. All this stuff is moving higher, all of it. And if you're putting money in these 503B things for your kids' college, if you're putting money in IRAs or 401ks or whatever these things are, I like to refer to all that money as trapped money because you can't use it until the kids are ready to go to college, and you can't use retirement money until you are retirement age. Put the money in the fastest horse. The fastest horse is Bitcoin. And it's like that because it follows liquidity, and there's a secular technology adoption trend that's going on in the world. So it's going to move faster than damn near everything. And all you got to do is look at the charts to see that. And if you're able to start putting the puzzle pieces together, i.e., hey, the entire space is worth $4 trillion today. It's moving to 100 trillion. So if I know that we're going to 100 trillion, do I wait until the space is worth 70 or 80 trillion before I get on the bus? Or do I get on the bus at 4 trillion? I'm going to get on at 4 trillion because maybe by the time we're at 10 trillion, I'm already a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best advice I can give people. Zoom out, learn about the macro a little bit. And once you can do that, then it becomes obvious. You use that Fibonacci tool because when we extend out, when price gets to the 3.6, 3.1618, the 4.2, whatever the number is, when price gets up that high, what are they saying in the news? Are they talking about lowering rates? Is everybody bitching and whining about inflation being really hot? You know what I mean? What is the dialogue on the national level? If it's kind of hinting at the end of the line, then it's time to get out. And maybe you don't get out at the exact top. Maybe it runs hotter for another month or two and you miss the exact top. Who gives a shit? You made a bunch of money and now your money's safe, and eventually we crash. Kim, can you pull up the Palantir chart, PLTR? So, God dang it. If you put that extension tool like on that, I don't know, call it the 70, the other one, the previous, yeah, that one. If you anchor it there, stretch it there, then drag it back to the bottom. No, that's too high. Um, Go down lower, like where that blue line is starting to that bottom down there. Still is too high. But anyway, I have it on my chart. The point is, the way I had mine situated, the thing hit the top of the scale. And as soon as it hit the top of the scale, I sold it. But it still ran another week or so higher. and then it started selling. So I just bring that up just to kind of illustrate the point. You're not going to be able to time the exact top. Most of us won't be able to time the exact top. But if you get in low enough and you get enough of the move, you still make, you still make a lot of money. And you just get out and you're happy with the gains that you made, and you wait for whatever the reset is going to be. But this right here, I don't know if that tail indicates that that's the end of the downside or if there's going to be further downside. Um, but if this thing comes down, where's that price at, Kim? I can't see. 119 or something like that.
150, what, the tail end or the
Now,
what?
what price is now?
Oh, 150, 158.74.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like this to come down more,
I was going to say it
before I get
depends on like what next week might do. If it
Mhm.
closes bearish, then it's definitely coming down some more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Another one that I'm looking at, I'll give y'all two that I'm looking at, and I may have fucked it up, but I don't know. The first one is CoreWeave, CRWV.
CRWB.
C is in candy, RWV is in Victor.
V is in Victor. Okay.
This is an AI stock. And Kim, if you put that fib on the bottom of that, the lowest point on there, and stretch it to the top,
the retracement one or the
yeah, fib retracement. I think this is the extension. Yeah, that's the extension tool. We want the retracement tool.
yeah. Maybe.
So it came down and gave us a 62% retracement.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that we would get an 80%, and maybe
It
we,
might. Hold on. I think
yeah,
it might. So just
yeah.
based on structure,
Hmm.
structure, right? So you might get a pullback to these imbalances, or maybe even to this, to possibly continue selling down to the 78, or there's a demand zone here, but maybe the 88. There's a gap right here, and maybe it'll pull back to there.
Yeah. So you remember how we was talking about DCA? This is a prime example of what I'm talking about, because this could bounce, hit that imbalance, and then continue lower down to the 80% retracement,
Mhm.
or this could bounce and just not give us an 80% retracement. So we know that a 50% pullback is a discount, and
Mhm.
it's a quote unquote goodbye. So if you got X amount of money, you probably might want to take some of it and buy this. And if it bounces and comes down lower, you live with it, and then you go all in once it gets down to 80. Or you stay out and this thing bounces and goes on its merry way, and you just missed out. And that's the decision on an individual level that everybody has to make. And quite frankly, I don't like that kind of stuff. And Circle is similar too.
Who?
And that one's CRCL.
I don't know why I got that on. Look, I don't know why I had that on here, but it looked like we talked about it sometime.
Yeah, we talked about it last week or the week before.
Oh, okay. So
So
it's
Circle
here.
suggests that we're going to get the 80% pullback.
Mm-hmm.
If you just kind of read that last candle.
Yep, it's already past 78. So,
Is it past the 78?
78 was right here.
Oh, I think I put mine on the bottom, at the beginning of price. And you went from that base, and you may actually be correct to do it that way.
Because that's the last swing. I'm gonna
Yeah. So I guess come Monday, I'm gonna have to just bite the bullet and buy some circle. And if we come lower, I'm gonna have to just live with it.
Yeah. It's currently at 135. I had this 117 also marked up, which was just the demand zone.
Yeah.
It
I
comes
think I was looking forward to come down to 112. Um, and it may not do it.
112. Oh, okay. Let's see what you
Yeah,
said.
but I like I said, I anchored my
It could
fib
get
on
to
the
one. It could get to 112. So I marked that demand zone up on a daily. So
Mhm.
it could go down a little more for a little farther. So right here would be this 4 hour demand would be here, which is at 111. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the area that I kind of have earmarked, but I don't want to wait on that and then it just doesn't quite get down there and then
Yeah.
it explodes because Circle is a stable coin company. Stable coins run on top of Ethereum. So that whole network effect conversation that we were having earlier,
Mhm.
Circle's a company that should benefit greatly from all of that. And that's why I've been watching it. And why I would hate to be waiting on 112 and it just never quite makes it down there and turns around and goes, wherever it's going to go. And that extension tool will give us a good idea of where price is likely headed.
Mm-hmm. 363, 350, 360, 422.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Anyway.
these are not decent discounted potential investments for
Mm-hmm.
people out there.
Yep.
They and all of them have, at least 100% upside. So earlier in the call, I think Delaney was asking me about, dividend paying stocks or staking crypto, and what I was basically saying is if I can identify something like Circle, that's sitting in the low 100s, and I think it's going to 400, that's 300, 200 and something percent, maybe 300%, maybe 400%.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather make that 200% than staking some coin, putting my money in Solana or whatever, and they're paying me 9%, or put my money in ETH and they're paying me 4 or 5%. I'd rather just go make the 100%. Or instead of buying some dividend paying bullshit stock, you know, just go make the 100%, the 2 to 3 to 400%.
Yep. Own it.
Thank you so much. I have got to go,
You're
but you
welcome.
guys enjoy your weekend. Thank you. I appreciate all the information.
No problem. Enjoy yours too.
Thank you.
All right,
All right.
y'all.
Okay. All right, Kim.
Later. Bye, y'all.